Captain Elias walked alone on the surface of the alien moon, his boots sinking into the soft silver dust. The stars above looked sharp and endless, but his stomach was empty and his supplies were almost gone. He had wandered far from human space, too far to expect help. All he wanted was a moment of peace, maybe a small fire and a little food. The land was quiet but not dead. Strange glowing plants shimmered like lanterns, and shadows moved between tall crystal rocks. Elias kept his hand close to his weapon, though his heart told him he was too tired to fight. He found a flat stone and sat down, pulling out the last pack of dried rations. The smell was simple, nothing special, but in that lonely place it felt like treasure. That was when he saw them, two figures standing in the dim light. Their eyes glowed faintly, their shapes slim and graceful. They looked like sisters, their features almost the same. One had silver hair that flowed like light, the other had dark hair that shimmered like night. Their skin carried a soft glow, making them look like they belonged to the stars themselves. Elias froze, unsure if they were real or just his mind playing tricks. But then the taller one stepped forward. Her voice was soft, musical, but filled with hunger. "Food," she whispered. "Please." Elias hesitated. He was human, alone, weak. They were aliens, mysterious and maybe dangerous, but something in their faces looked fragile, almost desperate. He broke the ration pack in half and handed it to them. They did not snatch it. They took it carefully, as if his offering was sacred. The sisters sat near him, sharing the food slowly. Their movements were graceful, yet their hands trembled as if they had not eaten in a long time. Elias watched them, his heart heavy with questions. Who were they? Why were they here? Why did they look so different from other aliens he had seen? As they ate, the silver-haired one looked at him with strange intensity. "You should not be here, human," she said. "This place is not safe." Elias gave a tired laugh. "Now you tell me," he said, trying to hide his unease. The dark-haired sister spoke next. Her voice was sharper, but still kind. "Still, you shared your food with us. That will not be forgotten." Elias did not understand. He had only given them a meal, nothing more. But their words carried weight, like a secret he could not yet see. The air around them changed. A faint vibration moved through the ground. The dust at their feet began to rise, floating like tiny stars. The plants shivered. The rocks hummed. Elias jumped to his feet, hand on his weapon. "What's happening?" he demanded. The sisters did not move. They only looked at the sky, their glowing eyes brighter than before. "It begins," whispered the silver-haired one. Above them, the night tore open. Lines of light spread across the darkness like cracks in glass. Elias's breath caught in his throat. Ships, hundreds at first, then thousands, sliding out of hyperspace like shadows of gods. Their shapes were massive, alien, powerful, filling the sky until it was no longer dark but alive with fire and steel. Elias stumbled back. His mind screamed that he was finished. No human ship could face this kind of armada. This was the end, and it came because he shared a meal. The dark-haired sister stood tall, her face calm. "Do not fear, human," she said. "This is not your death. This is your beginning." Elias stared at her, unable to believe, but deep inside, a small spark of hope flickered. He had no idea what these sisters truly were, but something told him his life, and maybe all of humanity, was about to change forever. The sky thundered as 10,000 warships aligned above the alien moon. Their weapons glowed, their engines roared. The sisters turned to Elias, their voices joined as one. "You fed us, now the galaxy must answer." Elias's heart pounded. He wanted to run, but his legs would not move. He wanted to speak, but no words came. All he could do was watch as the universe shifted before his eyes. The meal was finished, but the true hunger of the galaxy was only beginning. The sky was alive with fire and shadow. 10,000 warships moved like giants across the stars, their engines glowing red and gold. Their weapons shimmered with deadly light, each one strong enough to destroy a planet. Captain Elias stood frozen, his breath caught in his throat. He could feel the power pressing down from above like the weight of the universe itself. The sisters remained calm. Their glowing eyes reflected the burning heavens. The silver-haired one stepped closer to Elias. You are afraid, she said softly, but fear is not your enemy. Elias swallowed hard. What are they? Why are they here? His voice shook. He had seen battles before, but nothing like this. This was not war. This was judgment. The dark-haired sister tilted her head. Her voice carried a strange strength. They are here because of us, she said, and because of you. Elias blinked. Me, he said. I only gave you food. Her eyes glowed brighter. You gave us more than food. You gave us trust. You gave us choice. You gave us the right to rise again. Before Elias could respond, the ground shook. A giant beam of light poured from the largest warship above, striking the moon's surface. The air roared, dust and fire spinning into the sky. Elias fell to his knees, covering his head, but the sisters did not move. The light wrapped around them like a crown placed upon their heads. Then came the voice. It was deep, ancient, and filled with power. It echoed not through the air, but inside Elias's very bones. The heirs have been found, the voice declared. The royal blood has returned. Elias's eyes widened. He looked at the sisters, their glowing forms shining like living stars. They were not just wanderers, they were not lost souls, they were something greater. The silver-haired sister turned to Elias, her face calm but her voice sharp. We are the daughters of the forgotten throne, she said. Our people were scattered, our power stolen, our names erased. But you, human, chose mercy when others chose fear. That cannot be ignored. Elias's heart pounded. He felt small, almost nothing. Yet her words tied his life to something far greater than himself. The warships above shifted formation. They moved into a perfect circle, their weapons aimed outward, not at Elias, not at Earth, but at the rest of the galaxy. The sight made Elias's skin crawl. This was not an army. This was a warning. The dark-haired sister's voice carried like a blade through the silence. The galaxy will bow to the ones who showed us kindness, and they will fear the humans who dared to share food with forgotten heirs. Elias shook his head. Wait. You can't be serious. I am just one man. Humanity is small compared to all this. He gestured to the massive fleet above. You're going to drag us into something we can't survive. The sisters exchanged a glance. Then the silver-haired one whispered, No, Captain Elias. We are not dragging humanity into this. We are raising humanity into it. The warships lit their engines as if responding to her words. A storm of fire and thunder filled the sky. Elias felt the ground crack beneath his boots. He realized the galaxy was changing, and he had no power to stop it. But deep in his chest, past the fear, something else began to stir. It was not courage, not yet, but it was the seed of it. The thought that maybe, just maybe, humanity could rise to meet this destiny. The silver-haired sister reached out her hand, her eyes locked on his. You must decide, she said. Will you walk away and let the galaxy decide your people's fate, or will you stand with us and make the galaxy fear the name of humanity? Elias's heart pounded. He could not answer, not yet. But he knew the choice would come, and it would change everything. Above them, 10,000 warships turned their weapons outward, waiting for the command of two alien sisters and the single human who dared to feed them. The galaxy had not yet spoken, but its silence was filled with dread. The sky burned with the light of engines. 10,000 warships floated like giants, silent but alive with power. Captain Elias stood between the alien sisters, his heart thundering. He could feel their presence not just in the air but deep in his chest, as if the universe itself had shifted around him. Suddenly, a massive voice filled the skies. It came from the lead warship, a vessel larger than mountains. He who feeds the heirs shall be judged, the voice declared. The words echoed in Elias's bones. Elias staggered back. Judged, he whispered. For what? I did nothing but share food. The silver-haired sister's hand touched his shoulder. Her voice was calm, but her eyes glowed brighter. Not nothing, she said. You broke the silence of centuries. You gave life to the oath that binds the throne. Before Elias could ask, beams of light shot down from the fleet. They did not strike the land. They surrounded Elias like a cage of golden fire. He gasped as the energy lifted him, pulling him into the air. He struggled, but invisible chains held him firm. The dark-haired sister stepped forward. Her voice rang sharp across the trembling ground. Release him! she commanded. The warship's voice rumbled again. The human must face the Council of Blood. His heart will decide if humanity is ally or enemy. His mercy must be weighed against our laws. Elias shouted, his voice breaking. I don't understand. I'm not a judge. I'm not a leader. I'm just a man. But the sisters looked at him with a gravity that froze his words. No, said the silver-haired one. You are more. You are the choice humanity has been given. The fleet shifted formation, thou sown. Bands of ships aligned in a perfect arc. Their lights painted the stars with fire. The sky looked less like space and more like a burning ocean. Elias felt so small, a single grain of sand before a storm. Then the impossible happened. The air split open, and a projection filled the heavens. Alien faces appeared, hundreds of them, leaders from different species. Their eyes burned with fear and fury. One voice shouted, Humanity has touched the forbidden bloodline. Humanity must pay. Another cried out, or humanity must rise. If they can win the heirs, they may lead the galaxy. Elias felt his stomach twist. Entire civilizations were watching him, entire empires ready to strike or bow, all because of a single meal. The dark-haired sister turned to him. Do you see now, she said, this is not about food, it is about destiny. Elias shook his head, but in his chest a fire began to grow. He remembered Earth, small but proud. He remembered the long journeys of human ships, fragile but fearless. If the galaxy wanted judgment, perhaps humanity could give them an answer. The silver-haired sister raised her hand, and the fleet responded like a living beast. Engines roared, weapons pulsed. The warships awaited only one command. Elias realized with terror that command might come through him. Then the council's voice shook the stars again. Human, it said, will you kneel, or will you rise? Elias's body shook. His mind screamed with fear, but in the silence that followed, something strange happened. His lips parted, and words came out not in weakness but with iron. Humanity does not kneel, he said. We never kneel. The warships thundered. The stars shook. The sisters smiled. For the first time, Elias saw them not as strangers but as allies, maybe even destiny itself. The judgment was not over, but the galaxy had heard humanity's first answer. The words echoed across. The stars, humanity does not kneel. 10,000 warships carried that voice, sending it through every relay, every channel, every empire. In a single breath, the galaxy knew the name of humanity. On distant worlds, alien rulers trembled. Some called humans reckless, fools standing against powers older than time. Others whispered in fear, wondering if this was the beginning of a new era. The simple act of a lone man had become the roar of an entire species. Captain Elias stood at the center of it all, the golden light still wrapped around him, but now it felt less like a prison and more like a crown. His heart raced. He was no emperor, no leader, yet his words had been taken as the will of humanity itself. The silver-haired sister placed her hand over her chest, bowing slightly. Protector of heirs, she said, the galaxy has heard you. They will never forget. The dark-haired sister's eyes glowed sharper. But do not be blinded by the sound of fear, she warned. For with fear comes hatred, and with hatred comes war. As if her words summoned it, the council's projection fractured. Alien voices clashed with anger. One shouted, the humans are dangerous. They must be crushed before they rise. Another thundered, the heirs cannot be trusted. Their blood brings only fire. Others demanded trials, oaths, or blood offerings. Elias clenched his fists. He could feel the weight of earth in his chest. The millions of voices who did not even know their fate was now being decided in a distant star system. His jaw tightened. They talk as if we are already defeated, he muttered. The sisters looked at him, and for the first time, he saw not mystery, but trust. They believed in him, and that frightened him more than any warship. Then the fleet moved. The 10,000 warships spread apart, opening a path to the stars. A massive vessel, black sharp, scarred with battles, emerged from hyperspace. Its size dwarfed even the throne ships of the heirs. It bore the mark of the Crimson Dominion, an empire known only for sea, conquest, and chains. Elias's blood ran cold. He had read about them in human records. The Dominion had enslaved dozens of species, burning entire planets to ash. They were feared across the galaxy, and now they had come. The Dominion's voice cut through the silence, harsh and merciless. The humans are weak. The heirs are broken. We will erase them both. The sisters did not flinch. The silver-haired one whispered, "It begins sooner than we thought." Elias felt his heart hammering. He was one man with no army, no weapons, yet somehow the galaxy had placed its eyes on him, and now humanity's survival would be tested not in words but in fire. The dark-haired sister stepped forward, her gaze fixed on the Dominion ship. "Captain Elias," she said, "do you see now why mercy is power? You fed us, and in doing so you tied humanity to our bloodline. That bloodline is the only thing the Dominion fears." Elias's mouth was dry, his voice cracked. "And what if humanity is not ready for this war?" The silver-haired sister turned to him, her glowing eyes sharp. "Then humanity must become ready, starting now." The Dominion fleet powered their weapons. Red light bathed the stars. A storm of fire prepared to fall. Elias's pulse roared in his ears. He did not want this battle, but he knew it had already begun. The choice he made with a simple meal had dragged humanity into the heart of galactic war. And as the first Dominion cannon charged, Elias understood one truth. There was no turning back. The Crimson Dominion's warship loomed over the fleet like a beast ready to devour. Its cannons burned with red fire, each one strong enough to tear moons apart. Captain Elias felt the heat on his skin, though the blasts had not yet been fired. He stood frozen, his heart screaming that this was the end. But the alien sisters did not move. The silver-haired one raised her hand, and the armada of 10,000 ships around them shifted into formation. Their weapons glowed, engines roared, the entire sky was alive with fire and thunder. The Dominion's voice boomed through the void, "Return the heirs to us, or burn with them." Gasps rippled through the Galactic Council's projection. Some leaders shouted for surrender. Others begged for negotiation. Still others demanded war. The galaxy was no longer watching. It was choosing sides. The dark-haired sister's voice cut through the chaos like a blade. "We will not return to chains," she declared. "The Dominion does not own us. The throne is ours, and those who stand with us will share its power." Her words shook the council. Some rulers whispered greedily about the throne's return. Others cursed the heirs, but all eyes turned to Elias. He felt their stares burning into his skin. He had not asked for this. He had not wanted it. Yet his act of kindness had placed him on a throne of fire. The council's voice thundered again. "Human, your choice binds your species. Will humanity bow to the Dominion, or will humanity rise beside the heirs?" Elias's throat was dry. He remembered Earth, small and fragile. He remembered the millions of human lives who had no idea their fate was being chosen here. Fear twisted in his gut, but so did something else. He thought of the sisters, starving yet proud, fragile yet powerful. He thought of the meal they had shared, simple but sacred. His voice broke through the silence. "Humanity will not bow to tyrants," he said. "If we stand with anyone, we stand with freedom." The council erupted. Some shouted with rage, others with fear, but a few, only a few, bowed their heads in agreement. The Dominion laughed, the sound like grinding metal. "Then humanity chooses death," their voice roared. Their warships' cannons blazed to life. Red fire poured from the heavens, a storm of destruction screaming toward the moon. Elias braced for the end, but the sisters raised their hands, their eyes blazed with light. The armada answered, "T." And 1,000 ships unleashed their power at once. The sky exploded in fire and lightning. The Dominion's first strike met the heirs' fleet head-on. The clash shook the void. Stars seemed to tremble. Space itself twisted with energy. Elias was thrown to the ground. The shockwave rattled his bones. Dust and fire rained across the moon's surface. He gasped for air, his body screaming. But when he looked up, he saw the impossible. The heirs' fleet had held. The Dominion's first strike had not broken them. Instead, it had only begun the battle. The silver-haired sister knelt beside Elias. Her voice was steady. "The galaxy has seen your choice. Now it will see if humanity has the strength to keep it." Elias's heart pounded. He knew this was no longer just about survival. This was about proving humanity's worth to the stars. The Dominion's fleet roared forward. Thousands of ships cutting through the void, their weapons blazing, their hunger endless. The heirs' armada prepared to meet them. And in the middle of it all, one human captain stood at the edge of history, a single choice tying the fate of Earth to a war that could burn the galaxy. The bargain was made. Now the price would be paid in fire. The void burned. 10,000 warships clashed with the Crimson Dominion. Their weapons tore across the stars. Lightning against fire, steel against steel. The heavens themselves seemed to scream. Captain Elias gripped the controls of a small command shuttle. His hands shook, his body battered by shockwaves. He had never been in a battle of this scale. No human had. Earth's fleets were young, fragile, built to defend worlds, not to face empires. But now their fate was tied to this storm. The heirs stood beside him, their glowing eyes fixed on the unfolding chaos. The silver-haired sister raised her hand, and entire squadrons obeyed. Ships the size of mountains turned at her sea. All manned cannons unleashed with her gesture. She was not only royalty, she was war-given flesh. Yet the Dominion did not falter. Their crimson fleet moved like a beast with 1,000 claws. Every time the heirs' armada struck, the Dominion struck harder. Their discipline was terrifying, their cruelty endless. Elias watched as a wave of Dominion fire ripped through one of the throne ships. The massive vessel cracked in half, its burning core spilling into the void. Thousands of alien soldiers died in silence. Their sacrifice lit the stars with tragedy. Elias's stomach twisted. This was no simple fight. This was annihilation. The dark-haired sister's voice rang sharp. "Do not look away, Captain. This is the truth of the galaxy. It bows only to strength." Her words cut him, but they also lit something inside him. Elias had spent his life as a wanderer, but now he was bound to something larger. He could not walk away. Humanity could not walk away. Suddenly, the Dominion fleet shifted. Their formation split, revealing their flagship. It was larger than anything Elias had ever seen, a city of war floating through the stars. Its weapons glowed red, gathering power. The silver-haired sister's voice broke with urgency. "They will strike with the Heartbreaker cannon. One blast will destroy half our fleet." Elias's mind raced. His voice cracked. "How do we stop it?" The dark-haired sister turned to him. "With humanity," she said simply. Elias blinked. "Humanity has no weapons strong enough," he shouted. "We're nothing compared to this." But the silver-haired sister shook her head. "Not your weapons, Elias, your will." Before he could ask, she placed her glowing hand on his chest. Energy surged through him, burning like fire. His vision blurred, and suddenly he could see through the eyes of the fleet. Every ship, every soldier, every cannon. He felt their fear, but he also felt their courage. And somehow, that courage flowed from him. The armada roared to life, their engines flared brighter, their weapons struck harder, they moved with humor and defiance, not just alien discipline. The Dominion flagship unleashed its cannon. A beam of red fire cut across the void, tearing planets in half as it roared toward the heirs' fleet. Elias screamed, his voice echoing through the command link. "Hold the line, humanity does not break." The armada answered. 10,000 ships poured their power into a single shield. Light brighter than suns filled the sky. The Dominion's blast struck. The shield shattered, but it slowed the fire. Ships exploded, debris scattered. But the heirs' fleet survived. Elias gasped for air, his body trembling. He had felt the deaths of thousands as if they were his own. His heart nearly broke, but he did not collapse. He stood, his voice raw but steady. "We are still here," the Dominion flagship roared, their voice thundering through the void. "Then we will finish you." But the heirs did not falter. The dark-haired sister's smile was cold. "No," she said, "now we finish you." The silver-haired sister raised both arms, and the surviving ships formed a spear of fire. They charged, engines blazing, humanity's defiance and the heirs' power fused into one. The spear of light cut through the Dominion's flagship, tearing its crimson hull apart. The ship screamed as if alive, then split into a storm of burning steel. The explosion shook the galaxy. Silence followed, silence heavier than war. The Dominion fleet staggered, their beast of a leader destroyed. They pulled back, broken. Elias stood trembling, his voice little more than a whisper. "We won." But the sister's glowing eyes were not calm. The silver-haired one whispered, "This was not the end, Captain. This was only the test." The dark-haired sister nodded, her gaze sharp. "Now the true war begins." The stars were quiet. The Dominion flagship burned in the void, its wreckage drifting like broken bones across the black sky 10,000. Warships hovered in silence, waiting. The galaxy held its breath. Captain Elias stood trembling inside the command shuttle, his body weak, his voice raw. He had felt death, he had felt fire, yet he was still standing. Humanity was still standing. The thought alone seemed impossible. The silver-haired sister turned to him, her glowing face calm but filled with pride. "You stood when the galaxy demanded you kneel," she said. "You gave courage where there was only fear. Humanity has proven itself." The dark-haired sister stepped forward, her eyes sharp as blades. "But the galaxy will not rest, Captain. The Dominion was only the first. Others will come. They will test you. They will try to break you." Elias's heart pounded. He thought of Earth, fragile and distant, unaware of the storm gathering around it. He thought of the billions of humans who had no idea their fate now burned across the skies of empires. His chest ached with the weight of it. "We're not ready," he whispered. The silver-haired sister shook her head. "No one is ready for destiny, Captain, but destiny comes anyway." Suddenly, the projection of the Galactic Council flickered back into the heavens. Hundreds of rulers, alien eyes burning with fear, hatred, and awe. One voice rang out, trembling. "The humans. They cannot be ignored." Another shouted, "They must be destroyed before they rise." But then another whispered, "Or perhaps they must be followed." The council fractured, some swearing alliance, others swearing war. In one night, humanity had become the center of the galaxy's storm. Elias clenched his fists. "If they come for us, we'll fight," he said, his voice steadier now, carrying iron through the silence. "If they test us, we'll endure. Humanity may bleed, but we will never bow." The heirs stepped beside him, their voices rising as one. "And we will stand with humanity, for the protector of heirs is bound to us forever." The fleets around them bowed, not with words but with motion. Thousands of ships dimmed their weapons in salute across. As the galaxy, whispers spread, a legend was born. They called him the captain who fed the sisters. They called humanity the children of defiance. And even on worlds far from war, parents told their children the story, how one meal changed the stars. But as the fleets pulled back and the wreckage of war burned quietly, Elias felt no peace. He knew the galaxy had only begun to move. He knew enemies stronger than the Dominion would rise. And in the shadows of space, whispers spoke of other heirs, hidden, waiting. The silver-haired sister leaned close, her voice like a promise. "The meal was the beginning, Captain. The war is the path, but the throne is the end." Elias looked at the endless stars, his breath steady now. "Then we walk the path," he said, and the galaxy trembled, knowing humanity had taken its first step into legend.